The 40 cal can make them all rotten sport. Is that Shetty cigar smoking that prime or what is that work? Just that work. If you replenish the sword and you gotta do the dirt.
Welcome everyone to our current session is Building Black Co-ops. We're featuring Iyegbah Angela Dawson of 40 Acre Co-op and Abiodun Abby Henderson with Gangstas to Growers, youth-based co-op. They'll be sharing their experiences with the journey of going through having a cooperative business model for their agricultural related services and products, as well as it'll lead into some other very discussions. I mean, they're both women entrepreneurs and leaders in their various spaces. So we're gonna get right into this thing here. We have about 45 minutes. So we'll start with Sister Iyegbah Dawson and then follow up with Sis Abby and go into Q&As.
40 Acre Co-op is a national agricultural cooperative. We're farmer owned. We're organized under the co-op statute of 308A, which is very specific to the kind of structure that we're using to raise economic tools that Black folks need. So I'm super excited about speaking to you guys today about what it's been like working with this co-op model for the past year, the things that we've learned. And really, I actually am coming here more so, I have lots of content actually that I could share. And there's so much that we could talk about, but I really was hoping that we could really have more of a conversation that meets your needs. So I can talk a whole lot about what 40 Acre is about and what it's been like over this past 18 months in particular. There's some lessons that I wanted to share, but then I really wanted to figure out from the community here. I had some of my own questions, actually. I'm super honored to be here. It's actually been a long time since I've been able to sit in community like this. As you might know, I'm in Minnesota. We're building a cooperative in Minnesota, and co-ops in Minnesota are very white. And I'm also in the hemp and cannabis business, and hemp and cannabis business owners are very white. So I'm used to being the only one in the room. And to tell you the truth, it's a little exhausting sometimes because we got to do a lot of explaining and a lot of justifying and a lot of education that some people should have already. For example, I've been accused by banks and insurance agencies of the first thing that comes to mind is trafficking, because we work with the hemp and cannabis plant and our offices, and we have labs in several different states. When I first opened up the 40 Acre business account, the credit union flagged me. They've been reporting me ever since we opened up the account because they said they felt like we were in too many different states and we were trafficking, because that's what they think Black people do. So that sort of experience has honestly, I think it's really, I don't want to say it, it's really given me some motivation around bringing new economic tools to the community, really. Because in the hemp and cannabis industry, only certain companies that are set up with certain financial institutions have the competitive advantage to survive in this kind of business. And so what I find is that as talking about representing Black people in this space automatically means that we have to start with a whole lot of pre-education about what our perspective is, what our philosophy is, our qualifications, our standards, and our practices. And even for some people, that's not enough. And so it's been, I'll have to say that, the passion behind the founding of 40 Acre Co-op is really personal for me, because I am a fourth generation farmer in the Midwest, and my father was a farmer and his grandfather was a farmer. And I saw what white supremacy did to his farming legacy, to our farming legacy. And it was because of that experience that I decided to basically be that person of this generation to stand in the gap and try to transform that narrative, right, of the poor, browbeaten, broke down sharecropping farmer. So I had a personal experience with the USDA when I first started the company, when I first started farming. So I was a professional, a 25-year professional, and I was in law school, and I was supposed to complete my second year of law school as an intern to be a corporate attorney for a university. And I was very trepidatious about that next step. And when I had an opportunity to go on a sabbatical, I chose the opportunity to go study hemp and cannabis. Actually, it was medical marijuana under some specialist growers on the West Coast. And once I went there I had to go in as an owner. I purchased into a business, into a farm, and I saw the inner workings of the hemp and cannabis industry from that side. So basically, as it's, in its genesis on the West Coast, moving further east. And I saw all of the financial, the economic changes that were happening in those communities already. After, I mean, some of these states maybe are about 5 years ahead of at least me here in Minnesota. I'm in the Midwest, and then probably maybe even 7 years ahead from folks in Georgia, Tennessee, Virginia, Florida. And so when I saw that trend coming across the United States, and I saw not one Black owner on that West Coast, and that whole farm of about 50 owners and 50 business people there, one Black guy was a laborer on a farm. And I said, that's going to probably be like that across the United States too. And the amount of money that people were making in these industries were rebuilding their schools, turning their schools into stadiums with all this state-of-the-art equipment. And it was just the combination of that basically is what birthed the 40-acre co-op, to be focused, bringing the economic and the revenue potential from the cannabis business into a cooperative model that can spread more opportunity for more people. So that's kind of the underground sort of philosophical pinning of the 40-acre co-op. And so we're always balancing, between this high revenue model, trying to develop this model, and also bringing it to our community and our people in a way that's accessible to them, but then also allows them to be successful in the market. And so the challenges of doing all that is what I'm here to talk about today, and hopefully to get more inspiration from y'all. Sometimes it gets to be a little overwhelming, the need in the Black farming community. I don't know about y'all, how much y'all have worked specifically. One of the things that I'm going to show you at the end of this is I have a 5-minute pitch presentation that I just created that talks about sort of the economic model. It gives you the top 5 things that we're working on in the co-op, and how we're generating revenue, and how we're bringing people in, and how we're organized. And I'll tell you all about that. That's in a 5-minute thing at the end. But really what I wanted to talk about is this. I wanted to have a little bit more of a give and take about what it takes for us as Black people, right, to transform this narrative of the poverty that the relationship with the land has brought us so far, right? Because right now the average full-time African American farmer makes an annual salary of $2,400 a year, not even a month, a year. And I believe the white farmer is somewhere between, depending on which report, somewhere between 50,000 and 70 or 80,000. So what that tells you is the history between what white farmers and Black farmers, how we've been allocated resources within the United States has been to intentionally rob the wealth of the Black farmer, right? So I believe that there's, a significant need for advocacy around this. We have the conversations around the Pickford settlement, and that kind of stuff is really important. But for me, when I had my first experience with the USDA for the first time as a grown woman farmer who was in graduate school and had been managing businesses for a very long time. And my first experience with them is they treated me like I was a welfare recipient begging for something. And they told me I was not eligible for none of it. And that was such a humiliating experience for me. I said, I never want to have to be in that position to ask them for help again. And then when I really got to researching and finding out, they treat my people in the South even worse. I mean, they just hurt my feelings, but and told me to get out. But from what I hear on a national scale, it gets more physical. You know, there's depending on what town and what county you live in, there's been some farmers that have had their animals poisoned and had their cattle and their lots destroyed. And so to me, I just felt like trying to work with the USDA might be a long-term strategy that we could work on the policy side. But right now we need to create new economic models that are more just for Black people to participate in. And so that's how we kind of organize 40 Acre Co-op, and that's the reason why I'm so excited to talk to y'all today, because really we're still in the forming stages, right? We started at the beginning of the year, and then COVID happened. We were having farm meetings at farmers' fields around the country before that happened. And that was really where I was getting a lot of the energy and the feedback and what do we really need and what's most important. And I haven't really been able to do that as much as I wanted to do. And so I'm really here to get energy from y'all as well, and feedback and input, and also just like answer your questions, but you know, more than that, find out what it is, how we can build more models like this, right, in the community. So I think I started with a lot, and I'll take a break there and see if Abby wants to start, or see if there's any questions.
So, yeah, I'm Abiodun, Henderson, representing the Crew tribe from Liberia, known to be the hardest to enslave. So giving honor to my ancestors. But and I'm also representing the Come Up Project, which is a social enterprise, and we feature the program Gangstas to Growers. Gangstas to Growers is an agribusiness training program for formerly incarcerated 17 to 24-year-olds, 25-year-olds based in the west side of Atlanta. We are super hyper local. And during this program, it's a 6-month long. We're happy to say that we're doing our first 6-month long program rather than 3-month long program, where they participate in learning how to grow food with our partner Eco Paradigm, Mr. Charles Greenlee, 2 days a week. We also do, they make hot sauce one of those days, and 2 of those days we do workshops, educational workshops. So they earn $15 an hour, $12 to $15 an hour, 40 hours a week for a 6-month long period. The workshops include yoga, group therapy, political education, financial literacy, nutritional cooking, survival skills, boxing, writing, African history, African American history, anything that you can think of that Black folks have to offer to educate these young people. We provide it. They did Reiki, anything you can think of, as we're trying to get rid of the death culture that is in our communities. Death culture and capitalism. It's so, in order to do this successfully, we are not a nonprofit yet. We do have a fiscal sponsor. We are committed to becoming self-sufficient, highly committed to becoming self-sufficient. So we decided to start a business, and a hot sauce business. Beyonce, we could love her or leave her alone, but she had a song that where she said, "Hot sauce in my bag, swag." Us being part of SWAG, Southwest Atlanta Growers Cooperative, at the time, Black Farmers Cooperative, Urban Farmers Cooperative that was based on the west side of Atlanta. We said, you know what, we're gonna make hot sauce and try to get the ingredients from the members of Swag. And so we have a lovely hot sauce, SweetSol, which you can purchase off of WeBuyBlack.com. Here it is here. Has lavender, turmeric, dark muscovado sugar, all the yumminess, all the yumminess. The youth just made a batch on Friday, which is delicious. But yeah, we chose to create a worker-owned cooperative because we realized that we need economic empowerment in our communities. And the best way to do that is to cooperate with each other and for everyone to be part owners in whichever way that shows up. We're in the stages right now where we just finished a summer program where during the month of Black August, well, you know, just like the other sister said, at the beginning of the year, we've just, after operating for 4 years, we've just gotten some funding through telling, you know, foundations, just shut up and give us the money. We're doing the work, whether you give us the money or not. We will feed our youth with food stamps, whatever we need to do, but y'all know y'all want to be down with what we're doing, so pay up. So we were able to get some funding to boost the sales of our hot sauce and to help run a summer program. And we hired some youth earlier this year that we're just going to focus on 3 leaders that have been through the program before, focus on developing the cooperative itself. And with COVID happening, we shifted to, instead of meeting up together, we said, hey, let's go to these Black-owned farms and put some food in the ground. We don't know what's going on. So we did that through the month of March and then took 2 months off where we paid the youth a stipend of $1,000 a month just to sit down somewhere. And in the meantime, we're able to develop a makeshift version of our full program during the summer with the help of Eco Paradigm Atlanta. Where we work 30 hours a week, 5 youth were paid $15 an hour. During the month of Black August, we started really honing in onto cooperative development on Mondays. And through that process, you know, the youth got better ideas of what the model was that we were going after. Besides all the African models that we have, all the models within the South that we have, we're also looking at Mondragon in Spain. You know, if you haven't heard of Mondragon, please check it out. Mondragon, you know, just Mon and Dragon, but Mondragon is the spelling, phonetic spelling. And they developed, you know, many years ago, a priest started a school, which turned out 5 people that started, I believe, a construction company, a cooperatively owned construction company in the 1950s. And those folks in turn developed more cooperatives. And now they have the Mondragon Corporation, where it has over 200 businesses. About half of those are cooperatives, but the whole corporation is run cooperatively. They make their own appliances. They have restaurants, catering companies, grocery stores, farms. They make cars, televisions, anything you could think of that they need, they make themselves. And that's what we're trying to go after with this cooperative. And it's not easy, you know. Just take one more minute to talk about a few of the challenges, or we can talk about a few of the challenges. You know, working with youth that have been indoctrinated, like all of us, but with social media, where they're watching these Instagram stories all day of rappers that they know from their neighborhoods that got these 4-wheelers, got the jewelry, got the everything, the clothes, the everything. They, you know, everybody wants to be a millionaire. So getting them to get out of the individualistic curse is the word that comes to mind, but out of this individualist thinking, and think cooperatively and think about how do we provide everything that we need instead of just things that we want. You know, getting them to heighten their work ethic, to take an initiative, allow them the space to take initiative, to be a part of a business that you are a co-owner of, to put in that sweat equity, even though they are getting paid an hourly wage. But, you know, when you're not getting that hourly wage, what does it look like to put in an hour in after work to see who else we can sell hot sauce to? Getting them to understand that we have to get to all the minor details of this operating agreement, which we have started, and they've been excited about doing. But get them to understand that we have to think about everything that can go wrong in order for nothing to go wrong. Hopefully nothing to go wrong, you know, really getting that work ethic back into the youth. Has been a challenge, but we just continue to educate and push through, and by the end of this year we'll be ready. And our next goals, our next products that we're interested in creating, we've partnered with G4 Farms, and we plan on planting bamboo, hemp, helping to plant bamboo and hemp in order to make modular products out of those materials, from everything that we truly need, from, you know, furniture, building materials, silverware, clothes, you know, so that we can really build a worker-owned production facility and, you know, keep on training the youth. And last fact is that, you know, a lot of people ask us, do we pull straight from the criminal justice system? No, we have recruited youth from the West Side, Southwest Atlanta neighborhoods that we started organizing in, and now they've recruited their friends that are formerly incarcerated, who are recruiting their friends who are formerly incarcerated. We already have a waiting list. People are trying to, we're 2 weeks into our 6-month program now, and I have youth hit me up on Instagram about joining the program and being part of this worker-owned business now. So we're just trying to get all the clicks, all the friends, make it look real fly, and really just change the lives and their children. Most of the youth that are 22 and under have children. So, you know, it's about revolutionizing our community.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Abby. We got like a good 20 minutes for the Q&A and just engaging in some dialogue. Angela, you wanted to just kind of hear too from people and just keep it open. So y'all just have at it.
It looks like a whole lot more people joined from when I started earlier. So just welcome, community, and thank you for showing up here. We still have more people coming in. And so thank you. And I'm really interested to know what you want to know and what you want to talk about, because this issue around cooperatives is so large, you know, it's so complex, right? It's so multi-layered. There's the whole economic democracy part of it, and then there's the whole education part of it, and there's the whole capacity building part of it, and then there's the how do we talk about sharing money conversation part of it, and then of course just, you know, living in a white supremacist system while we're building this. So there's a lot of different directions that this conversation can go. And I'm interested in really, you know, providing y'all the content that, you know, you want to hear and that is helpful to you. There's so many lessons around organizing a co-op, as Abby said, though, you know, some of the foundational steps are really important. And that is really coming up with your sort of philosophical framework of how you plan to organize a community around a cooperative, and then things can follow from there. And then operating agreements and filing. 40 Acre Co-op is a legal cooperative in the state of Minnesota, and it's really still difficult for other people to understand. We're not a nonprofit. We're not a for-profit corporation. We're not an LLC. And there's usually not a box on a form that we fit. So there's a lot of education and capacity building that even needs to be done on the leadership side of this. I feel like I'm super fortunate in that I was able to study with folks that went to Mondragon, and I studied a lot of those models, and I was able to work under some of the people that were developing very successful co-op models here in Minnesota. And also our co-op attorney is one of the leading cooperative development attorneys in the country, where he's, influenced a lot of the legislation around opening more access to this model. But that's not, everyone doesn't have that resource. And even that background or that knowledge to even know, because it took me off guard. I talked a little bit earlier about having to justify and explain myself in the cannabis space, but also even in the cooperative space, when people don't really understand your business model, they also start to think of it as suspect.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Angela, let's pause really quick to just give some people a little bit of co-op 101 about the different types. So we know that in this country is a different legal structure. And so help me fill in the blanks. So you have, there are member co-ops where people pay like an annual due or something like that, just and have kind of some stakeholder ownership. But they just maybe get some perks, as members, but they're not really doing any work. And then there are like worker-owned co-ops, right? That's the two I know.
Well, that's what's so great about the co-op model, though, Iyegbah, because and that's what I had to learn early on, and it took me a while to integrate this, but you can actually have any kind of business use the cooperative model. So Minnesota is a really good example. We have daycare co-ops. We have
high per capita amount here.
Yeah. Right. So there's sex worker co-ops, right? There's all kinds of different co-ops. And that's what's so cool about the model, and because it's so applicable to all kinds of setups. And really, and this is one of the things that I'm coming up against this year, because really the model can do whatever you need it to do, whatever the community needs for it to do that it's organizing for. And I feel sometimes I'm in this strange space because we're in this hemp and cannabis thing where we're talking about a lot of money. So, that's a lot of capitalist kind of structures set up for that. But then we have this, strong passion for Black farmers and creating equity and justice in that area. And people automatically think, no, we're not really a workers co-op, but on the business side, we're too co-op-y for business people. And on the co-op side, we're too business for co-op people. So it's really about walking that fine line, what I'm finding, and just keeping the integrity with my people is kind of really what I'm focused on, because this is a different economic model than most co-ops have operated with Black folks before that I've studied recently. But it also, But it also has some still important financial structures that we're accountable to, because we're dealing with these banks and these other institutions that require us to report in certain ways. So yes, there's a worker co-op model where all of the
Abby, that's what your Gangstas to Growers is, a worker co-op, right?
Yeah, that's what we're building.
That's the process you're going through. Okay.
Yeah, worker-owned cooperative. So them figuring out, who, what does it take for someone to enter the co-op? If they have to go through a 6-month program, then, so we know who they are, how they operate, then they're able to join. What does the kitchen responsibility, just breaking down all the duties and what does that mean? The question now is, do we want employees? That's what the youth are like. We need employees, and they're like, the workers are the employees, though. What do you?
They're called owners and employee, right?
Yeah, or owners and the employees, but I think it's that capitalist, way of thinking sometimes in their minds. They're like, no, we need employees because we need folks that we just gonna pay, and they can't just be owners and stuff. Well, that's what the training program is about. That's what the process is. And technically that's when folks are employees during the training program, So yeah, just trying to, that profit sharing and having the youth worry about, well, the pie is gonna get smaller and smaller the more people that we you know, bring into the co-op. And it's like, well, we sell more products, we sell more sauce, we create more products, we create more capital. So, but yeah, that's the model that we're going after. And then, you know, Raina also here, she, you know, has us thinking about, you know, the farmers that we get our ingredients from, you know.
Supply chain, which we talked about as a panel too, that.
Right, that becoming a farmer's co-op, and where we get our ingredients, whether it's be the raw materials for the other products, or just be the materials for the hot sauce. You know, what does that look like? There's the service co-op, you know, where we have the accountants, the accountants, the consultants, the all that becomes a co-op in itself. You know, how do we co-op this thing out? Everything we need.
We've had a hand raised for a while. He was ready. He jumped in and was like, let me raise my hand now so I could get in first with my question. Adam Powers, if you would like to unmute yourself, go ahead and ask your question.
Hey. Hi, everybody. Thank you. Yeah. So I am from Seattle. I run a nonprofit where we bring emerging technologies to underprivileged areas to help create self-sustainable communities. And I'm trying to create a holistic co-op model where it would have large 40-acre farms producing resources and distributing them to smaller urban farms who distribute those resources to community members in their homes through farmers market style events. Is that a co-op model? And where does that fit? Because ideally I would want to create a contract with everybody in it so that we can logistically move the products and resources to the community members that need it. But I'm wondering if that falls under like a co-op where everybody from the large farm to the house owner or homeowner or community member would be in it. And if there's a contract on that transportation and resource given. I don't even know if that's really a question.
I can help with that a little bit. So I did mean to say that there are a couple of things that can help you determine and underpin whether it's a cooperative, and that is that you're organized for a group of people who are primarily going to get the benefit out of the venture, and that they have one share and one vote in the larger direction of the co-op, and that you have principles that people pretty much accept as the operating sort of overall guiding principles. Right now, they're kind of referenced as the 7 principles of cooperation, which were incorporated in 1965, and they've been ratified like every 10 years by the International Cooperative Alliance. And so those are some of the things that are kind of important to the foundational principles of whether or not you're saying you're a cooperative. And then how you distribute the profits, right? So it could be either through the worker distribution model like Abby's using, or through the farmer distribution model, the one that I'm using. But yeah, those are the main things that help you determine whether or not. And then of course, if you decide to file for the legal protections, which there are some, I haven't had a chance to talk about that, but there are actually some special legal protections in many states for organizing as a cooperative. So there you go. Iyegbah, those are the seven principles of cooperation, and pretty much adhering to that, which is pretty difficult in some circumstances. I'm going to say number 1 has been a challenge for me, voluntary and open membership, because we are organized for Black farmers. We had to have that conversation early on. So are we going to let non-Black farmers join the co-op? And just those are real serious questions, right? That the co-op has to answer about what they are, about what their philosophical foundation is. I'll say I have a couple of strong ones that really 40 Acre emphasizes, and that's number 3, the economic participation, and then number 5, the education, training, and information, because we have a lot of pretty aggressive education programs that we're working on. But yes, so some co-ops can see themselves stronger in some of these principles than others, but it's important to kind of, for at least for the leaders and the formers of the co-op, to have some of those in mind, especially as you're thinking about possibly scaling up or partnering with other co-ops, or maybe taking your message nationally. It's a good way to make sure that everyone's kind of operating on the same principles.
Thanks for pulling that up, Abby.
Okay. Yeah, I have a question. I sort of came in late, but I wanted to know specifically, has gentrification been an issue with any of the work you all do as far as, co-oping? Has that been like, have you ever had any clashing with that in the process?
For us, gentrification was like one of the reasons why we started.
Okay, yeah.
The more the foot is on our neck, the more we come up with solutions.
Okay.
As Black folks. It's caused us not to put our hot sauce in one of their stores in the neighborhood that we, formed our idea in and started our organizing work. But no, I mean, our hot sauce is $12 a bottle, so they need to all come and buy some. But yeah, I mean, it's really about like, okay, we got this pressure. How do we get this production facility? How do we make the money? How do we get everybody financially stable so that they can stay in the neighborhoods that they grew up in? That part, the youth, losing youth out of the communities that we working in, that is an issue. That is an issue. Having folks having to move out to Clayton County or Riverdale and so on and so forth when they grew up in Mechanicsville, all these Southwest Atlanta neighborhoods. So that has been an issue, actually.
I'm glad you brought up gentrification because I forgot there's also housing co-ops too. So, housing issues out there, and that's the structure, that I'm sure that it comes with some challenges as well and some opportunities. And I think it's impacted by local city ordinances and things like that. But that is such a thing, housing cooperatives and those provisions for letting multiple like non-related people live together. It depends on your city ordinance. Angela, did you want to add to that? And then I want to go to Shanette and then back to Adam in case he wasn't done with his.
I was just going to say is that not so much gentrification quite yet, but gentrified mindsets of people who want to do stuff with 40-acre co-op so I'm just going to say the gentrified mindset is really troublesome for me. And it's this opportunity zone stuff that people have now. There's this opportunity zone through, I don't know, I guess it's a financial tool that Trump created that are making developers and investors turn into rabid animals, to tell you the truth. Like, so I'm getting I get approached by a lot of investors and right now people in the economic arena who want to do things with the co-op that shows that they really don't understand what a co-op is. But it's around that gentrification, like, you can create a hemp facility and then we'll create a whole bunch of multi-unit housing and, that kind of stuff. So I just want to put that out there.
Thank
I
you.
have a question about the hot sauce. I'm sorry. Can we ask questions?
Yeah, just pause really quick. I had seen Shanette been raising her hand for a while. Norris, go ahead and unmute yourself, and then we'll come back to you, Miss Janelle.
Yes, hello family, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Thank you for this presentation. It's really wonderful. I wanted to ask the sisters, how are wage structures set up within with for-profit co-ops? So like, how are they set up equitably and according to the work? Because I know different people have different skill sets and do different things in these organizations. So how do you set up salaries basically within a co-op to do that? I'm currently reading Sister Jessica Gordon Nemhard's book, The Collective Courage, A History of African American Cooperative Economic Thought and Practice. And I've just gotten into the book, but I'm still a little confused about the whole concept. So yes, if that was just basically my question. Thank you.
Yvonne?
Well, our goal, because we're still finishing up the operating agreement and that portion of it, but with the profits coming in, 40% of that going back into the business and 60% going to the workers of the profits. Right now, we're looking at a commission when it comes to the hot sauce specifically. We're looking at like a commission-based payout where they're able to They're able to take home, I'm doing the math real quick, Lord. A quarter of the, about a fourth of the sales from the hot sauce to directly put into their pocket. But I think it's just really about, you know, doing the math, right? How much do you need to run the business, right? And how much is left over to split with the workers, managers, and the folks. So when I running the business, the facility that you're using, the admin piece, the accounting, the lawyer, the ingredients or whatever the production costs are, those fixed costs are, you know, all those things, working that math out and just, you know, with whatever's left over, being able to split that up and leaving room to invest into the business to help it grow. You know, do people have to go without for a while, you know, until you're able to put enough in?
Right.
So just thinking of it, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, sis. I guess I'm wondering even further on top of that, does everyone get the same salary, or is it based on, you know, the amount of work that people are putting in? Because, or do we just have to change our mindsets when dealing with a co-op? You know, it's not like the usual corporate model where, you know, the big dogs get all the money and the little people who have, you know, what we think of as lesser skills get less of that money. Do we have to change that idea?
I think that's the great part of cooperatives, right? Everyone makes that decision together. So, you know, what makes sense for the group of people that you're working with, which makes the process longer, right? Because it's not just one person making all the decisions, one or two people making all the decisions and then hiring employees. So it's about sitting down and, you know, who did, so you've decided that you have to, even after you go through the training program, you have to put in $1,200 to join the co-op, right?
Nice.
So you have to put in that amount as an investment before you join. That's the part that we're working out now, like whoever does the most work, what's the percentages involved with that? What does that look like? And how do you measure someone who's driving the hot sauce to locations compared to someone that's, you know, helping to make the hot sauce on a daily basis? What does that look like? So it's a lot of math, but you make the decisions together. What were you gonna say, Sister Angela?
So with that, Abby and Angela, there's a question about how to start a co-op. So you all have already talked about community, the people who are interested coming together, having some outlining a plan, some decisions, what the value is, what type of co-op. What resource is a good one to reference that gives you maybe a step-by-step guide? Is it the site we pulled up with the principles, or can you name one or two just for the sake of the recording that people could look up to help them figure out how to get started and what kind of co-op they want?
Yeah, so I wanted to say there are some resources. The USDA has like a 200-page co-op 101 guide. That's like to help you get all the legal, financial. That's kind of different than the values-based conversation that we've kind of been talking about, but that's kind of the nuts and bolts of it. And I can make that available. I can send that to Iyegbah if people want that. But then what I was also going to say is that 40 Acre Co-op, in November, we are doing a training. The training is mainly focused on, it's two pieces. It is going to cover the Co-op 101 piece, and then the rest of the training is going to cover specifically around growing cannabis and what that is all about, what it takes to create a successful grow, and what to do if you want to enter into the business as a successful business owner in the hemp space. But that's a really big important question, because I didn't want to have folks in the co-op ready to grow hemp for us if they really didn't understand the foundations of a co-op and what it means to be a member of a co-op, and then what specifically it means to be a member of 40 Acre Co-op.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Abby, anything to add to that? Resource to get started? What was like your go-to?
We're so hyper local. So we have folks in Atlanta, Regenerate Atlanta, that is helping with education. We have folks from OHRD, Organization for Human Rights and Democracy, that started a cooperative Atlanta. You know, one of the young people that I've known for years, she's leading, who's been working for OHRD and is part of Regenerate Atlanta, has been doing the cooperative development classes. Another sister, Nena, who came from Boston, that's educating that. She's been providing the education. So just really just family.
And that's good, because check out your local resources. You know,
Yes.
Angela and I are here in the Twin Cities greater area, and she's been doing the work locally for a while. And there's been a lot of local resources and ties to national, but taking advantage of local groups, meetups, you know, little associations, even if they're from the mainstream. You know, we go to the mainstream to get the knowledge and information and see what we can do here. And so just be comfortable being the only one in the room, gather the information, start to build some relationships, come back, talk to your people and see what we can get started here. No more excuses. We just, you know, let's do what we got to do. Let me go back to Janana. You had a question earlier, and then Mama Nobantu, and then I think we'll show Angela's video and hop over to the next session, please. Unmute yourself. If you still have a question, Janana Amatula. Sis Janana? Okay, let's go to Mama Nobantu, please. Maybe she'll...
Iyegbah?
Yes.
Iyegbah?
Yes.
I'm so sorry. I had to walk away, an emergency. Did they answer my question?
No, I was going to direct them to the chat for that. So yeah, I'll come back to that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Mama Nobantu, please.
Yes, I have greetings, everyone. I had my chat in the question in the chat as well.
Okay.
I'm just wondering if there's been any collaborations or partnering or considering partnering with Uplifting Us here in Georgia. They have put together a co-op that's been around for about 5+ years, and their model was that one vote, and people would put in, they would purchase a unit for $1,000, $50 coming in as a member, and they did put together a cafe called Ulu Cafe. But because I think that we needed some young people like I see on this platform that were really in social media, they weren't able to hold on to it. So I'd just like to see, because most of those folks in Ulu, and it's 500 membership across the country and a few outside of the country. I just like to see how we can connect some of these dots together. So, you know, it seems to me that as a collective, we can grow and become more powerful. So I'm just wondering if there's been any connection with Uplifting Us, and upliftingus.com is something people can look at, and they've laid out a great model for how co-ops are supposed to work. They have studied what happened in Spain and all the things they have done, and they wanted to model that here. And so it's just about how do we connect the dots with those who are looking at these same kind of issues around co-op, especially Black co-ops. Thank you.
I think there's an opportunity to create a Black cooperative association despite model. Maybe that's another task for the Black Sustainability Network. We'll just have a co-op division and Abby and Angela can be the committee chairs of that. Did y'all, Abby and Angela?
I'm sorry. I heard you called me, but I couldn't get back
to
the to the thing. I wanted to ask in reference to the Black sauce. Young lady was saying the hot sauce, rather. Young lady was saying that they don't put it in the gentrification stores, the stores in the gentrification area. And I was wondering why. What is the reasoning behind that?
Oh, it's just one specific store. Just one specific store that we, you know, being in that neighborhood since 2008, actually, just knowing how they have operated and have worked to buy a block together. You know, just it's really just personal reasons and ethical reasons. We work with plenty of white folks that buy our sauce at cost and sell it at cost, or buy it for a higher wholesale price and sell it, you know, because we deal a lot with reparations, reparational ways of being with when it comes to white folks. So it was just that one specific store, that's all.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Did my question get answered?
And Mama Bantu, So before Cafe Ulu closed, we did hold a couple of classes at Cafe Ulu and use Cafe Ulu as an example. We have joined as an organizational member, but I don't think we paid the full 1,000 yet. So we will look into that. And I think also that Us Lifting Us needs to do some self-reflection as well as to what, when it comes to recruiting young people. And it's really just people like me that are in all the circles connecting the dots as well. So yeah, we would love to hook up with y'all again. Thank you for reminding us of Us Lifting Us and all the hard work that has been done already, groundwork that has been laid already.
Okay, we'll have to.
Okay, really quick. Our panelists, did you all attend the Up and Coming Co-op Conference in Madison, Wisconsin? Are you familiar with it and the work of National Black Food and Justice Alliance, Malik Yakini? I know some of us with the summit are familiar.
Yeah.
Up and Coming Co-op Conference, familiar with it?
Yeah, Co-op Econ and Gangstas Girls were part of the National Black Food Justice Alliance as well, and was able to participate in the Reparations Summer Campaign with the Black Land Liberation Group and get $55,000, where 20,000 of that is going straight to the land to help build infrastructure and help us start with our bamboo and hemp production. And we're sorry that we weren't able to. Oh, we brought a couple of youth to the conference earlier this year in February. So we're hoping there'll be another conference to bring all the youth to next February so they can start being part of that organizing work as well.
Wonderful. Sis Iyegbah, if you want to respond to that or anything else or show the video clip, I think we can do that. We've got our questions covered. Unmute yourself, please. Let me unmute you.
Okay. Just wanted to say that, we're still fairly new this year, but really interested in, working with people in the community who need that technical assistance. I think that's probably the best role that we could play in the community, is just kind of providing some of the technical assistance and some of the technology that we have that you'll maybe hear about in the video. So my calendar is always booked because I'm always just doing outreach meetings and loving to talk to people like y'all just to find out what you're doing and what you need. And if we can do something to support. We're always working, always open to working with Black folks to help build this community up.
And I do want to mention that you all, 40 Acre is a sponsor of the summit, and you have some things coming up in November, and as well as offering a special for attendees of the summit who want to join the co-op in honor of National Co-op Month, which October is. So I'll turn it over to you to speak more about that and show the video, and then we can wrap up our session.
Thank you. Yeah, so yes, the co-op is National Cooperative Month is a very active time of year for us. It's also what we call Croptober, where we have harvested all of our hemp and are drying it and curing it and getting it ready for processing. But as a part of this kind of conversation that I want to continue with folks that attended this conference, we are offering 50% off membership to join the 40 Acre Co-op as a Class A full share member. Regularly is $500. That's a lifetime membership, and it gets folks access to our technology, to the hemp seeds that we're producing, and a lot of the programs, and also gets to buy in the economic program of producing hemp. So that's one thing. And so the code BSS 2020 will be put onto the 40 Acre membership application website for folks that will specifically be getting 50% off for them. But in addition to that, we are offering the training. I mentioned it a little bit. The full-fledged training that we're offering from November all the way to March is really going to cover all of the stages of growing hemp and CBD, and there'll be special experts all throughout the process. My team will be focusing on the Co-op 101 portion. We're going to be covering financial trauma in agriculture and Black farmers specifically, and how we can transform that trauma narrative into something different, a new relationship organizationally with money and with revenue and with each other. And then there's going to be experts in the industry that we've partnered with to talk specifically and coach people one-on-one on how to learn about the plant so that they can be prepared next season to provide me with good product that I can sell on the market. That's the goal. And so we're trying to create a pipeline of people who are trained and have expertise in the standards that we have for producing hemp for the marketplace and are ready to join us as growers and business owners in this economy. So yes, and so that class is $250 if you're not a member, but it's free if you are a member. So that is basically going to be span the winter season. So yes, I'm excited to be able to offer that. We're in the middle of negotiating a pretty significant partnership with a corporate partner who wants to also be a part of the career pipeline for our members that are going through this training. So there are employment opportunities with this training. So I'm excited to be able to be a part of that already this year and to help create jobs and employment for our folks. So with that, I'd like for you guys to take a look at this video. I'm just starting to get comfortable getting on the camera. And I was just gonna say, keep in mind, I'm an organizer and I'm sensitive about my kid. So no, I'm just saying, y'all take a look at this and tell me what you think. But basically, this is a 5-minute presentation that I made 2 weeks ago at a pitch contest called the People's Pitch. And it basically is figuring out a way for the co-op to join to get investors without having to go through the venture capital route. So this is my 5-minute pitch. I will just give you a spoiler alert. We did win. And so it was a $10,000 pot and we split it with a runner-up. But this is the presentation and I'd love to get y'all's thoughts about it. This is where I was talking about, we're kind of on this line of cooperative development and economic development. So it's a 5-minute presentation. And can I have the shared screen? Yes. Okay, I'm gonna play it for y'all.
Oh, Angela, the sound.
Yeah.
The sound is muffled.
I'll just send you guys the link to it. I'm not really sure what happened with the audio, but thank you all so much. I'll hand it back to you, Iyegbah.
Okay, yeah. All right, so, well, I think we covered most of the questions. Let's keep the conversations going in the Whova app, and you'll, like I said, all the presenters, you'll be able to contact them directly. Thank you again for joining this panel. We'll just end things here and hop over to the next session on funding. I think we're all interested in that. All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A BB for ODJ, a Southwold. Ancestors show the way. A Southwold. A Southwold. Yeah.